It's a Monday morning, 5 days out from the greatest greyhound race in the world, the slot race, the biggest party in greyhound racing. It is the Phoenix December 13. I'm Jimmy Vandermaat here on the Green Light On podcast, and we're recording Monday morning in the Meadows, what would you call this, studio, Mickey Tyres. I welcome you.
Little Meadows man cave, yes, thanks James. It's 6 weeks, it's flown by in some ways and been slow in others with all the changes that we had throughout the rankings and injuries and retirements. But we're here. We're so close.
We're so close now, mate. This morning, the missus saw me with a few tears in my eyes, and I have to say, hay fever got the better of me. But it was the fact this was going to be the last podcast, 6-week series for the Phoenix. Not the last podcast, but the last for this mini-series. But then I get here this morning, and the team tell me, no, Jimmy, we're going next week. We're going to do a review. We're going to have a look at the Silver Chief as well. So I love this time of year at the Meadows. I mean, when you break it down, to have now the Phoenix being ran December 13 with the best young talent in the industry going around as well in the Silver Chief heats, it sort of just makes sense, this calendar.
It does. And there's going to be so much to talk about, I'm sure. There's a ton of storylines throughout the Phoenix, and then obviously with the Silver Chief as well, up-and-coming male dogs. There's a lot of edge there usually with the betting and stuff. Can you catch the next superstar? We saw a couple of go around the last couple of weeks, like your Amron toys and your fractions and that, are showing a ton of ability. So we might be able to find a few more winners on that extra episode next week.
I saw Ian Garland, and he just looked like a man with swagger the other night. That greyhound of his, Fractions, did run Fractions. It looked seriously good. Maybe if the Phoenix was 2 or 3 months down the track, maybe a few weeks down the track, might have been a Phoenix contender. We'll chat about that a bit later on. Quick tips later in the week. We'll pull apart the Silver Chief heats. But right now, this is all about the Phoenix of 2025. Box draw took place Sunday morning. It's always intriguing, and I feel there was one winner from the draw, Mickey, which was Cumbria Jack. What were connections like?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Cumbria Jack. I was a bit shocked they went with slick splits. In fact, the draw probably ended up being, I don't know if boring's the right word. I thought it would have been maybe a little bit more risks taken rather than just box 1, box 2, box 3, but that was how it eventuated again. I love Corey Heinrich's comment. Did you catch what she said?
I did, yeah.
She basically said, well, it's to deny anyone else getting box 1. And I love that, because I was wondering that if people did come up and choose box 3, box 4 and box 5, whatever first, and Cumbria Jack just comes out 5th and gets box 1 or box 2. So, and it ended up getting a great draw. Or is it? We can delve into that a little bit more.
We'll get to that draw in a moment, but if anything, I think the Karma bus might have got Corey Heinrich because they happened to have Cumbria Jack trained out of their kennel, who was the second selection. And I reckon in an ideal world, if they knew he was coming out next, 1 Cumbria Jack, 2 slick splits, and 100%. they might have Quinelled the Phoenix. They still might.
Yeah.
They're a good chance of doing that. I've brought up a graphic. You know I love to do a bit of work on the Green Light On podcast, and I've put together a graphic of what does it take to win a Phoenix, because I think the box draw, we put so much on the box draw and how important inside draws are in the Phoenix, and then I've rolled through the 4 winners thus far. Wow, she's fast. 5.13 to the peg, so didn't light them up, still won the Phoenix. 29.655. Third at the first split, then third, second, first, and won the race. That was from box 4. Second year, 5.12 to the peg. Again, not what we expect you need to do to win a Phoenix. 29.843. Third early, second. Claims the lead, wins the race from box number 6. Scalacci, this is more what we look for, I think, in a Phoenix dog. 5.07, 29.874. Led at the first corner, led down the back, and won the Phoenix. Led all of the way, coast to coast from box number 5. And then you've got Explicit. Last year, 5.02, again, starting to trend to what we look for in a Phoenix dog, 29.721, second at the first peg effectively, whipped around the field, took the lead, and led from that point on to win from box number 8. So I guess by breaking this down, Mick, and we've only had 4 running, so it's only a small sample pool, but to me it seems like we all sit there and say you have to run 5 dead to win a Phoenix, and yet the data so far argues that 5.07 and beyond have won 3 of the 4 Phoenix.
And Explicit did it from box 8 as well, which is still, even though that particular greyhound was suited to a wide draw, he still had to get across and do it. And the fact that box 4, 5 and 6 have won the other 3 Phoenix just shows you that does this shape again that the inside draws, if Slick Split's maybe trying to push off the track, that they might not be suited again, perhaps.
Yeah, well, Smithy, who didn't make it to the podcast, now we must mention this, we probably should have gone with this off the top. It was meant to be a three-man show here, and Smithy, after the box draw, he's renowned for taking on the town, Melbourne town, and getting on the stubbies, and apparently he almost needed resuscitation, I think, this morning. So we decided to leave him out, or he decided to leave himself out, I suppose.
His unread messages on the group chat. I don't think has he even seen them yet.
I'm not sure.
I sent them about this time yesterday, and he still hasn't looked at it.
Yeah, we'll kick off at 9 a.m, I said, and what is it now? 9:40, and we still haven't heard from Smithy, but we believe he's not too well. Big race preview. Well, it is the big race preview from what took place in previous editions of the Phoenix. We look ahead to the 2025 edition. Who is going to paint their name up as the new superstar of the Phoenix this year? We'll go through the box draw with the slot holders who have selected these greyhounds to represent them in the great race, the Phoenix. Number 1, Slick Split, Sporting Legends for Kenny Bailey down there in Sale. That they're in for a big day, Mickey. Gator.
Yeah, Gator doing his Sky appearance down there. I'm not sure if that's tied into anything about some Phoenix promo, but it's going to be a big day down there, and I can just imagine if Slick Splits can win it, Sporting Legends will be going off. Sale will be having a big night. Yeah,
100%. 2, Cumbria Jack from Metro Jetting. 3, Kenya Mayhem, Total Container Solutions. They've been involved and done well in a couple of slot races already. Awesome Lodge with a left of centre decision with distinction. 5, Ariza Sparkles, Ram Racing. 6, Deadly Avenger, David Burke Construction. 7, Mally Beauty for Tab. And gee, they're confident with Mally Beauty. You can just hear the swagger in the voices of those representing Tab. And accredited for Team Sportsbet to jump out of box number 8. Now, I love the fact these slot holders get involved. I think that the nights that I've been at the Phoenix, mate, the groups that are involved just have the absolute night of their lives. And in particular, when Ladbrokes won it with Scalacci, and Sportsbet obviously going back to back. I mean, it's just extraordinary, this tribal-like atmosphere that we get.
Yeah, Sportsbet had the party deck, and I think the very first year Roush's Fast won it, they had all this white fencing to separate their area from other areas, and the white fencing went down with everyone. The pandemonium of Roush's Fast winning, confetti in the air sort of stuff, was brilliant to see.
And I hear they actually... They damaged the trophy, didn't they? Or their trophy, I think, that year.
I
think there's a few scratches in that one. We'll go through runner by runner and chat about them. Slick Splits, obviously, for Sporting Legends. This is a dog who has been lightly raced of late. He's trialled quick. What do you make of Slick Splits going into box number 1?
Yeah, the last 6 weeks or so I've been going pretty hard on preparation being the key. And, it was out injured. Admittedly, it's ended up being not as bad as first thought. But I still don't particularly like that few weeks off. And when Slick Splits had box 1 in the Silver Bullet, I said to myself, never again off an inside draw, because I thought that was his race to win on that night. And now he's got box 1 again. Just at the price and the preparation, I'm probably happy to work around him. Could he still lead, barge through and win? Possibly, but just at the price and off that box 1, I'm inclined to risk.
Yeah, I think winning form's good form, and the fact that even his last win at Sandown, where he sustained that injury in the catching pen, which obviously wasn't as bad as first predicted, winning form's good form, and he went to a new level. So box number 1, look, it's going to be hard to hold out dogs like Distinction or Rise of Sparkles early, but if he does, he's going to take some beating. 2, Cumbria Jack. Fitchy was after you for a while there, I think, to be honest. But I think you had an argument to make, to be honest, Mickey. You said that you wanted to see the dog cross the state line.
Yep.
He crossed the state line, and they had to call the fire brigade to follow him around after he ran the 500 here first go. He's an excitement machine, this dog.
Oh, and since that trial, there's been no one who's thought that trial was as good as I have. I just thought it was a brilliant trial. Again, preparation is still, he hasn't seen another dog here at the Meadows yet. So that's still in the back of my mind. Now, this dog is an absolute superstar and probably the most tenacious chaser in Australia. Don't get me wrong. But the facts are, it's still, to me, he's going to start favourite, and he's never seen another dog at the Meadows. And if Distinction and Ariza Sparkles ping, could they jam that inside brigade up with Slick Splits trying to get off? But can Cumbria Jack still come back from that? If he does get pushed back a little bit, he still might have the rail. So I think he's going to be right in the finish, but it depends how stressful the situation will be with the map. He could just explode and nearly find the front and win. or he's going to get jammed up and it's going to be heart attack stuff if you're on him.
I think it's going to be disappointing at anticlimax if he leads, because if he leads...
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
The Phoenix will be ran and won in the first 3 or 4 strides. I don't think he will lead, but he's an absolute machine. I think he can give them a head start. We just ran the vision of the trial, which we're speaking about. To do what he did, you even said in the lead up on this podcast, mate, that he was arguably the best first look at the Meadows of all time.
Oh, I can't recall a better one. And the fact he was in such a good line close to the rail as well. And for whatever reason here, dogs just don't run a 5.0 section at their first look at the track. So 5.13, people go, it needs to improve on that. 5.13 is super.
Yeah,
for a first look. Yeah,
it's good insight. Number 3, Kenya Mayhem. This is a replay of him winning the Melbourne Cup. I wanted to show a little bit of head-on footage as well of this dog. Even though he's using the inside draws, I still feel like he's still laying up the track just a little bit, and that's going to make it harder for the dogs on his outside and a lot easier for those two underneath of him, in particular Cumbria Jack, who gets a little bit of room, I think, to move through. But as we said last week, he was one of the last selected, Kenya Mayhem, and there was just really no cons to him. He's in form. Yeah. He handles the Meadows. His times here are okay, but he's going clearly better now than what he was when he last raced at the Meadows. He's drawn box number 3. What do you make of Kenya Mayhem?
Oh, I think that's a great draw. When Jesse had the chance to pick the box, it was the best draw on offer, and I think that Kenya Mayhem drawn right in line with the lure, with his pace, and with Cumbria Jack underneath. It was a super decision to take box 3. How it unfolded after that with Distinction and Ariza Sparkles getting 4 and 5, that's got me a little bit concerned, because I feel like that they could all be tying up for that same kind of forward pattern type run. Do they all undo each other, or does Kenya Mayhem, with that amazing recent form, and that 29.92 at the Meadows was on a wet night, it was the best of the night. As you said, he's a better dog now. Is there still a possibility that he explodes out, leads, and they jam up behind him and he wins? Yes, absolutely. And I've got him right up there in my selections. There's
going to be pressure on for Kenya Mayhem. It'll be intriguing to see if he can go again to that next level after winning a Melbourne Cup. The 4 is Distinction for Awesome Lodge. This is such a left-of-centre decision to put this greyhound in, but I like it. She's got speed. She's got wheels. We see a replay of her winning on the Provincials, and she can just break them up so quickly through the first 100 metres. And I reckon when Team Thompson sat there, they said, look, what do we got? Tim Zoo, who went super at sale last night.
Amazing, yeah.
Maybe could have been in the Phoenix on that run.
How well he went.
Yeah. He was back. So any doubters for Tim Zoo, I think he's back and he's online for a Sale Cup. They had him, they had Traumatise, and I think a lot of us were expecting he was going to go down the Traumatise path, Jason Thompson, but he said, nah. They obviously had a bit of a meeting. Instead, Distinction's the up-and-comer, and early speed might be the key to winning the Phoenix, and she's got plenty of that.
Yeah, a ton of that. She did trial 29.99 here, so there's nothing wrong with that trial. My only concern is they're banking on her running a sizzling first section and a sizzling time to the back. Now, she's never raced on a city track before. There's going to be a big crowd all the way lined up to the boxes, and it'd be more noisy than usual. There could be a situation we saw with Intrepidus in the Melbourne Cup. Everyone expected him to explode out, completely bombed the start. Accredited, nailed the last couple of jumps. Melbourne Cup missed the start. I can see a possibility here. Everyone's banking on Distinction leading. Young greyhound, what if he doesn't?
I think you take on Team Thompson at their own peril, because I don't know, that you just they've got something up their sleeve they're going to produce. They always do in big races, and this is a dog that clearly has the motor to maybe lead to the back straight if she handles the occasion. And Shona Thompson said on the Sky coverage and at the box draw that she sort of believes this dog will take it in her stride effectively. The big crowd, the atmosphere. She's a pup that can handle it.
And if she doesn't handle it on the night, she's going to be better for her over the Australia Cup Carnival. She's going to be a greyhound to really follow over the next few months, and the Australia Cup might be the perfect time for it.
Well, from box 4, the blue, to box number 5, Ariza Sparkles, and she has her doubters at the moment, Ariza Sparkles. She was 3rd here the other night. Had every chance, I think you could say. They went quick in front. Extradited ran the race of his life, and Croydon came from nowhere to run second. I wasn't overly disappointed with the whole run, but what I was worried about was the last 40 or 50 metres.
Yeah, she didn't hit the line very well. There's no one who's probably pumped her up more than me over the last 6 weeks. I just loved her running the Top Gun for her first race start. It's a wet night. She showed great courage, forward pattern. Box 5 here. Yeah, interestingly, they picked an odd number draw, believing that she needs that little bit of extra time to settle in the boxes, and she seems to begin better. So I took note of that. I just didn't like the run the other night. But delving into the form a little bit further, the track was playing fast tonight, but she still ran 29.98, hitting the line poorly. So, back the wheel and's in to get her right here. Do I want to be on her? I don't think so, no.
Could she be better if she finds the lead? Because I feel like all of her best racing is where she hits the lead. Solo at the first corner, whereas the other night Extradita was able to lead her, so she was having to chase and work a little bit too hard through the first two sections.
100% agree.
Yeah, and box 5 was interesting. You obviously back in Stephen Fitch, the fact that they've elected to go 5 ahead of 4, but general thinking and the general rule of thumb is you'd rather box 4 than box 5.
Probably, but if she can begin to the best of her ability, and I think I'd say 8.5, 9 times out of 10, she'll explode out. Probably doesn't matter as much with her, and if you can get that extra few seconds to settle in the boxes, especially seeing she'd be more used to the New South Wales box mechanisms and that, any 1%er in this instance is a positive.
Yeah, Deadly Avenger number 6 in the big one for David Burke, and Team Thompson have taken the reins about 7 days out from the race for Joey Borg. So there's going to be a few people cheering for this greyhound to run a big race. And to be honest, mate, I don't half mind the draw. I thought his run last start, as we show the replay at Sandown Park, was at the Cup Night Sprint. This was a run that said, I'm back to the peak of my powers. He's the king of WA, the king of Perth, the king of Cannington. He won the Perth Cup. He won the Sandgroper. So he's got history in a slot race.
Absolutely. And he seems to have the timing about him. He's never necessarily been one of mine, Deadly Avenger. And I feel like that run at Sandown put a lot of writing on the wall that this dog is ready now. I didn't like the prep going into the Melbourne Cup. He just didn't have that racing. You'd think he'd had one start at Wagga a couple of months back before that. I just didn't like the prep. But now he's had that couple more runs. And unbelievably, he's come out last here in the box. Yeah. I actually really like the draw and the map.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Speed underneath, drag him into the race. The only knock, you want to have a knock on Deadly Avenger?
Well, the preparation's still not quite 10 out of 10.
It's 8 out of 10, I reckon. Yeah. But you know what the knock, I reckon, was? How far back he got in that. His run home was elite. Like, that was a different side to Deadly Avenger. But whether or not he's able to rewind the clock and show the speed and mix that with the strength that he showed, that's the $1 million question.
And I was saying I'm relying on distinction to explode out and a rise of sparkle. So if they explode out a card over, the gaps are going to be there. This Deadly Avenger is going to have a ton of space. Mally Beauty to his outside, and I'm going to assume Mally Beauty will take care of Accredited in a negative way for Accredited. So Deadly Avenger could have all this space, this last box, to take. Box 6 and box 5 and box 4 have won the Phoenix before, so I'm not too scared about those wide draws. And with this map and the timing and the Thompson polish, he's actually my top tip.
Is he really?
Yep.
Yeah, you like to go off early, don't you? Give away your top tip. But I can see why, because I think when you're first looking, you go, box 6, that's poo. And then you go, well, hang on, the dogs underneath are going to be going left, the dogs to the outside are going to be going right. Mally Beauty's one of those, drawn box 7. I reckon Connections would have been a little bit annoyed that Nettie Mack went with box number 8, and I think look, you can see why he did, because he was hoping that maybe the way the draw plays out, Mally Beauty ends up in box 4 and then Accredited can whip down the outside when the pressure happens underneath. But for me, look, Mally Beauty, she's a star. We saw her win on the 25th of October here at the Meadows, and I don't know if she's got the wheelhouse to win a Phoenix. I don't know why, and something sat on my shoulder. I don't know if it's the racing pattern to push to the outside and then try and beat them from there. I just don't know if you can beat a dog like Cumbria Jack, Kanya Mayhem, Slick Splits if you're doing things not so much wrong, but having a skill set that has her maybe at a disadvantage pushing to the outside early, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. I couldn't agree with you more there, James. You've summed that up really well. I think if we're getting down to the absolute nitty-gritty, inches and metres win these races, and Mally Beauty's going to need everything to go right, and she's going to stay out wide, and she's going to run that extra few metres. And I feel like in a race like this, that extra few metres actually is the difference between winning and losing. And I'm probably on the side of her not winning, even from a wide draw, just for those reasons you said. And even if she gets her pattern and she's out at full momentum, just if a dog like Cumbria Jack's there railing underneath, it's going to save that couple of metres, and that's could be costly for Mally Beauty at the end. But I love the box draw for her in the sense that they could pick it. She's got the wide draw. There can be no complaints from their end. She's got the position and potentially the race pattern that they wanted, and now it's just up to her to perform on the night.
What odds was she to get the pink, do you reckon, before the draw?
Not necessarily the pink. I know we did discuss on last week's pod that we did think she was immoral to get 5, 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
And it's turned out that way.
I thought she was $1.15 to get the pink, to be honest. I was surprised. I thought Nettie Mack will go 7 and then have Mally Beauty out to box 8 so he gets a bit of cover from the outside. Accredited's the next dog that I want to chat about, and I don't know. I find it hard to see him winning the Phoenix, in particular from the outside. He had a trial here, an exhibition trial last week. Sections were just okay, and I think even Nettie Mack said he needs to jump better than that if he's going to be winning a Phoenix. So he doesn't love pressure from his outside, so I can see why Ned's elected to go with box 8. But does he have the speed to cross and win a Phoenix from box 8?
Not off that map, I don't think so, no. But
with Mally underneath going right.
Correct, yeah. And basically, needs to sharpen up that first section from the trial, which he could. I'm not sure what the light show sort of stuff's going to be for the Phoenix, but I feel like maybe Accredited was negatively affected by the lights going on and off. He's missed the start.
In the Melbourne Cup.
And he's missed the start. And you had that, they're not machines. He nailed those starts prior, and then he's missed it in the Melbourne Cup. That's racing. They're animals we're dealing with here. Box 8, I mean, Ned knows what he's doing to a sense that obviously this dog doesn't like pressure from the inside and it can cope a lot better having nothing on its outside. So I can see the method to the madness with picking box 8. But just with Mally Beauty there, even Deadly Avenger could be driving up underneath. By the time that happens, Accredited, will it get sideswiped on that first turn? I'd have to probably say more likely than unlikely.
Yeah.
And I think he's $17 or $18 last I looked at. I think he'll probably start the night with a 2 in front of it.
Maybe a 3.
Potentially, yeah.
I think he would just about be the rank outsider of the field. And yet he won the Group 1 Hume Cup. But that's the depth of a Phoenix.
Yeah.
And 7 dogs have to lose, Mick. Mm-hmm. And that'll take us to our next segment in just a moment. But before we do speed map, let's chat the speed map in this Phoenix. Because for me, I think the pace is clearly Distinction, Ariza, Sparkles. And then your next line is Slick Splits, maybe pushing up the track with Kanya Mayhem, Deadly Avenger trying to drive forward with Mally Beauty, and then maybe the back markers who aren't going to be too far away. That's Accredited posted wide, and Cumbria Jack just trying to suck through behind Slick Splits.
Spot on.
We've got it right?
Yep, 100% agree.
There you go. That was a quick segment. That's how we like it.
I suppose it's just a matter of how good Slick Splits starts, and does he use box 1 to bully himself into that forward spot, or does Distinction and Ariza Sparkles cause that inside brigade to jam up if they both begin perfectly? And then that brings your Deadly Avengers, I'm hoping, and potentially Mally Beauty to sail around the outside and get good maps and good patterns, and it'll be up to whether a dog like Cumbria Jack has got that freak factor enough to reel him in late.
Yeah, and even I think the first 2 or 3 strides, obviously Team Daly, Josh Formosa, Corey Heinrich down there at Anarchy, they've got the inside 2 dogs in their care, Slick Splits and Cumbria Jack, and there's a scenario where they step side by side, bump each other, and put each other out of the Phoenix within the first 20 metres.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah, it could happen.
And so, in the Silver Bullet, Slick Splits couldn't have found any more trouble earlier. Off box 1, I'd recommend going back and looking at that replay and then deciding for yourself, do I want to be on him again here for box 1 in another high-pressure race? Yeah,
it's interesting. Let's get to Power Rankings, which has been an extraordinary segment on this podcast since day dot. And it is time for our finishing order Power Rankings. So now that we know the 8, obviously we can guess the 8, but the challenge is now to guess them in order. I'll go. The winner of the 2025 Phoenix, my tip is Cumbria Jack, box number 2, taken by his trial. We had Stephen Fitch on the podcast recently. So many positives with this dog. I think he's drawn exactly where he wants to be, and I think he's just different gravy. I think he's better than the rest. For second, I've gone 1, Slick Splits. I'm probably banking on the speed map of Slick Splits going through and giving Cumbria Jack the tag. Cumbria Jack runs him down. Slick Splits for second. I've gone Deadly Avenger third. I think he's the greyhound that's probably going to be overs price-wise. Let the inside jostle and he'll just whip around the field. He gets a decent map, as we've spoken about, in particular with those greyhounds to his outside. I don't think impacting him through the first 100 metres. For fourth, I've gone with the Melbourne Cup champ, Kanya Mayhem. Not sure about the draw, where he gets to early, but he's a winning machine. He's a star pup and he'll run well. For fifth across the line in the Phoenix, number 7, Mally Beauty. I know I've been a bit of a knock of her, but I still love her. Like, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if she's good enough to win a Phoenix with the way that she races. Sixth, I've gone accredited. I'm not sure he can win the race, but I think he'll pick a couple up late because he's got 600 metre form. You know he will find the line. Distinction for 7th. Now, I'm going to get egg on my face if Team Thompson can produce something magical here, but I just couldn't have her with that lack of experience. The middle pin, if she wins, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
What a dog.
Yeah.
Credit to them. Ariza Sparkles for 8th. I don't like tipping a dog to run last, but and what's gutting is I think she is actually a sneaky chance if she leads to win the race.
Yeah.
But that's the Phoenix, mate. Something has to win and something has to run last.
Yep, that sure does. So for me, all right, my top 8 in order. Number 1, Deadly Avenger, just gradually building this dog, and I just like the map and I like the draw. I'm not scared by box 6, but I'm banking on Distinction and Ariza Sparkles pinging, heading left, and the heavens opening up for Deadly Avenger. I think I'll know my fate in the first 10 or 15 metres. Number 2, Canyon Mayhem. The draw worries me a little bit just with Ariza Sparkles and Distinction, but he's right in line with the arm. He's the most informed dog, the Melbourne Cup winner. If he began and led, boy, they're going to know he's there. So I've got him in for 2nd. I'm having faith in Jesse Hopkins that can win another big one potentially. 3rd, Cumbria Jack. I have to have him up there. Again, I'm just not 100% convinced on the preparation. I would have liked to have seen him maybe have a race here. So I've got to sort of stick to that preparation, that I've been going on about the last 6 weeks. But is he right in it and is versatile, can come from behind and win. If they're only 4 and 5 in front of him and he's got the rail, he's going to be right in the finish. But I've got him in for 3rd, Cumbria Jack. 4th, Mally Beauty. Again, got its wide draw, should get its pattern, but it's going to need everything to go right. Those extra few metres that it might have to cover could be costly. 5, Distinction. I am banking on her pinning the leads and maybe setting the race up to be a blanket finish, so to speak, and someone like a Deadly Avenger to run over the top. But Distinction, I am banking on her to run a hell of a race and just tire late. Number 6, Slicks Blitz. Again, just the preparation, been off the scene now, it's back in box 1. I just can't get that silver bullet run out of my head. So I've got him in for 6. 7th, Accredited, just box 8. Where's he going to be? As you said, James, he might pick up a couple of them late. Just the map, and I could just see him being posted wide and then having that sort of shift back inside. And whilst that happens, they're going to be pinching a big break on him, I think. And last, I feel awful about this one. We've both got Ariza Sparkles 8th because I absolutely love her. She's one of my favourites. So just that run last start, just didn't grab me. And what happens here, some of the big dogs around her, and that just don't know where she's going to sit down that back straight if she doesn't sort of lead. So I've got her in for 8th, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's awful tipping her for 8th. And like we say, if she happens to spear the start and get up on the outside of Distinction, take the lead at the first corner, and she's leading Distinction, she can win the race. There's no doubt about that. Just noticing that that's the only position we agree on.
Right, okay. Yeah,
Ariza Sparkles will be out the back. But that is the power rankings for the big dance, the 2025 Phoenix. And sadly, that wraps up the podcast for this week's big race on Saturday night. You'll be out here, Mickey. Plenty happening on the track too, isn't there? The Phoenix is always, as I say, it's a tribal atmosphere. It's the biggest party in greyhound racing. No doubt they'll have a DJ spinning the discs.
Yep, and you've got that Whiskey Right Classic for Fawns and Brindles, kind of like the Greys race on Oaks Day.
Yeah.
You've got the match race. I think there's a couple, maybe a 600 metre final as well. So it's going to be tons of distances and tons of different type of races. I'm looking forward to that match race. There's some good names in the list of nominations. We'll find that out on Wednesday. And then we'll be able to delve into a bit more into that match race on Quick Tips.
Yeah, match race and also the Silver Chief Heats. We'll do a full meeting preview on Quick Tips. Might be a slightly longer edition of Quick Tips with how much good racing. And we will be back with episode number 7 of the Phoenix Flight Path next week to wrap the Phoenix and to have a look into the Group 1 that is the Silver Chief. Well, that's it, Mickey. Thanks. Been good fun, mate,
yes,
having you in the flesh.
Loved it. 6 weeks, it's flown by.
Who sends the invoice to get the fuel back?
Yeah.
Where do we send that, eh?
Yeah, I know. Do they pay quickly?
I'm not sure. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.